So the 2021 season has started and Rory Mcilroy has got off to a pretty consistent start. He, has had a top 10 finish and now a top 15 finish. And, that's a good signs for all of us Rory Mcilroy fans. So today we are taking a look at what's in Rory's bag, the clubs Rory is using at the moment, which do include some of the brand new, a lot of the brand new TaylorMade golf equipment, including the new TaylorMade Sim 2 product and some of their new irons as well. So let's dive straight in and start taking a look at Rory's bag. So we'll start out with the driver and we'll work our way down. So first of all, in the driver, Rory Mcilroy is rocking the TaylorMade Sim 2. This is in 10.5 degrees, but apparently is adjusted down to 8.5 degrees. So it's a 10.5 degree head that's been changed to bent basically, or something, to an 8.5 degrees. He has this in the Fujikura Ventus Black 6X shaft, 45.5 inches, 59.25 lie in a D4 swing weight, if you care that much about all the little details. Now, this is quite interesting. We recently did Dustin Johnson, What's in the Bag, and Colin Morikawa as well. If you want to see all the clubs in their golf bags, I recommend checking out those videos on my channel. So this is interesting because they were both using the TaylorMade Sim 2 Max, and Rory is obviously using the TaylorMade Sim 2. So there's clearly something that Rory prefers about this driver over the TaylorMade Sim 2 Max. Now that could be because Rory is probably one of the highest launching hitters with his driver in the world. He just sends it into space. I've seen him hitting on the range before and the drivers just go straight up, and so with that, obviously the TaylorMade Sim 2 is meant to be the slightly lower spinning head compared to the TaylorMade Sim 2 Max, so that could be a reason, and obviously he has the loft cranked down as well, which is going to help with that. So now we move into the 3-wood. Rory goes into the TaylorMade Sim 2 3-wood, again the lower spinning version as opposed to the more forgiving bigger head of the TaylorMade Sim 2 Max. He has this in 15 degree head but set down to 13.5 degrees. That is very, very low for a 3-wood. I believe that's even lower than the TaylorMade Rocket 3-woods that normally come out, the slightly lower lofted ones. I think they're normally about 14 degrees. So that is very, very low for a 3-wood. But again, fits into this trait that we're seeing with Mcilroy, that he hits the ball so high anyway that really they're trying to reduce spin and, get the ball going forwards instead of just straight up. He has this in the Mitsubishi Tensei CK Pro White 80 TX shaft. He has this set at 43.25 inches, 58 lie D4 swing weight as well. Now, these are shafts that Rory has used for a while. We see with drivers that come out every year that the stock shafts tend to change to the more modern shafts, but professionals on the PGA and European tours don't like to change their shafts that often unless they really feel there's a benefit. Shaft in a lot of ways can be more important than the head of the golf club in terms of how the golf club feels when you swing it, how it releases and everything like that, how it loads is very, very important. So that's why we don't tend to see a huge variety or change in the shafts, and I believe Rory has been using these same shafts for quite a while. So now we move into the 5-wood. So that's right, Rory goes into a 5-wood instead of a hybrid and a 2-iron. Now, Rory does like to play a 2-iron in more links golf conditions to get that ball flight a bit lower. We see him put this into the bag when he comes over to the UK, plays in the Open Championships and similar events. And also last year we did see him use the TaylorMade Sim Hybrid, which was interesting because Rory had never played a hybrid before, and well, to my knowledge anyway. And that was quite interesting to see him do that, but he's back to the 5-wood now. He has this in the TaylorMade Sim 2. It's a 19 degree head. Again, it's set down to 18.25, not quite as much this time. He has this in the Mitsubishi Tensei CK Pro White 90 TX, so that's obviously 10 grams heavier than his 3-wood, which is 80 grams. And yeah, these are quite heavy shafts for woods. I'd say, typically if you go and look at your driver shaft or 3-wood shaft, etc., they're probably going to be more in the 60 to 70 gram range, and in this we're seeing Rory, I think his driver shaft is 60, but then 3-wood is 80 and 5-wood is 90, so that's relatively heavy for these shafts. So then we move into the irons. Now, it should be no surprise to you what irons Rory is using. He has the TaylorMade P7MB irons for to pitching wedge. He has these in the Project X Rifle 7.0. He has apparently the pitching wedge in the 6.5. Not a huge amount of difference, but interesting that he's got that one shaft slightly different. So it should be no surprise to you that he's using these irons, because Rory was quite instrumental in the development of these irons. These irons were developed with a lot of tour player feedback, and to my knowledge, we've been through Dustin and Colin's bags, and Rory is the only player we've gone through so far that seems to be using these irons. So he obviously must like them. It was a pretty big change, he hadn't changed his irons in a while, and we still see a lot of the TaylorMade Tour Pros using the TaylorMade P730 irons, which are like 5 or 6 years old now. So it is really interesting to see that Rory, has changed his irons, and, they are obviously a very bladed iron. They're a very, very good looking iron. So there's never going to be a huge amount of difference, but there also must be some reason why some other PGA Tour pros and European Tour professionals aren't swapping over to these new blades. And that reason is probably more to do with head shape and visuals down at the ball than it is to do with performance. They might be a slightly different blade length, they might look slightly different, and you want to feel pretty comfortable, especially when you're playing for so much money every single week and under so much pressure on these tours. So now we move into the wedges. Rory is gaming the TaylorMade milled grind 2 wedges. So he has these in the 52 degree, 56 degree, and 60 degree. Again, he has these in the Project X Rifle 6.5 shaft, which is the same shaft he has his pitching wedge in. He has the 52 degree in 9 degrees standard bounce. He has the 56 in 12 degrees standard bounce, and the 60 in 8 degrees of bounce. Nothing super going on there. They're kind of mid-ranges of bounce. 8 degrees might be a little bit low in the lob wedge, in the 60 degree, but other than that, they're pretty standard bounces, probably pretty similar to almost what you would find in a golf shop if you went and bought these wedges. So nothing super special going on there. And a lot of tour pros do tend to have their wedges in the same shafts as their irons. This is probably something we as amateurs and stuff don't get quite so much, because when we go and buy a wedge, it will typically have like a wedge specific shaft in it. We don't often get the exact same shafts in our irons, which doesn't really make sense when you kind of think you want them all to be fairly consistent, which is another reason custom fitting is definitely so important. So now we move into the putter. Rory has the TaylorMade Spider X copper putter. He has this in 34.25 inches, 2.5 degrees of loft, and 70 lie angle. Now, this isn't a new putter. He's kind of been using this one for a while. I think he's kind of tinkered with it a little bit, and he has kind of put other putters in the bag, but he seems to be pretty settled on this one right now. Rory's putting is always kind of not hot and cold so much, but he definitely gets some streaky periods of form with his putter. I wouldn't say he's an amazing putter 100% of the time. He's known more for his incredible driving and great ball striking, but he definitely, on his day, is an incredible putter. We've seen him, when he is playing his best golf, just rolling everything in. So it is a great putter. I've actually tried this putter before. It is interesting. Let me know what you guys think of it. I'm not going to review too much about that at the moment, but it obviously works for Rory. So, and then in the ball, Rory is using the 2021 TaylorMade TP5X with the number 22 on it. I'm not sure what the number signifies. Maybe someone out there might know. But he is using the latest version of the TaylorMade TP5X. I believe this is meant to be the lower spinning golf ball from TaylorMade, which again sets up in line with the trend we are seeing throughout Rory's bag, which is to reduce spin. You know, we're seeing that with every one of Rory's clubs, with the driver 3-wood, 5-wood, you know, everything. All the lofts are cranked down. He's using the smaller club heads to get less spin. So yeah, no surprise there at all. He uses the Golf Pride Tour Velvet cord grips. I believe these are the same ones that Tiger uses. I believe he uses those cord Golf Pride Tour Velvets. Apparently he has the logo upside down on these, probably just not get in the way and keep quite clean visuals. So yeah, that's Rory McIlroy's What's in the Bag. Let me know what you guys think of that. It's always quite interesting to see these players with their What's in the Bags, not just because we want to know what clubs they're using, but when we know what ball flights they hit. You know, Rory's a very, very high ball hitter. We can then kind of identify trends in his golf bag and kind of understand why he's doing certain things in there. And, you know, maybe even think about how it might affect us. You know, if you're a very high ball hitter, you know, maybe you want to go for a slightly lower lofted and smaller head driver and reduce that spin down, etc. And, you know, try out some heavier shafts as well. Let me know what you guys think about that. Did anything jump out at you? Was that surprise, not surprise? Did you expect that? I mean, it's no surprise that Rory's using all of the latest TaylorMade Sim 2 products. I think, you know, him being one of their kind of icons, really, in terms of sponsorship, they're going to want him to be using all of the latest stuff. And obviously he is. Let me know also, how do you think Rory will get on in the 2021 season? He seems to be off to a good start. It will be interesting to see if that continues, and also, you know, if he can pick up another major. It's been so long. He hasn't had a win since 2019. It doesn't feel that long ago because it was right at the end of 2019, but he hasn't had a win in, you know, over a year now. So it will be interesting to see if he can come out with some good results this year, come out with some wins, maybe even win a major. Do you think he could win the Masters this year and get that career Grand Slam that he's been chasing for so long? I'd love to know what you guys think. Comment down below. As always, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Remember to like it, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Grip it and rip it.